Evening, everybody. Told you I'd be back more regularly. And, fulfilling a promise that I made long ago on this channel about how I would drag myself in front of this microphone and this tablet when I was in bad emotional states so that people who watch my videos, and hopefully new people, can relate to such emotions, know they're not alone. This is one of those times. So, this is this INFJ's biggest fears, and it's fear and actually terror. It's everything that has scared me since 2006. It is a fight I cannot win, answers that I can't have. No matter what I do, it doesn't change. So what am I talking about specifically without giving too much backstory? Well, 2006 is when I was cheated out of my firefighter job the first time at age 19. Everything I'd worked for 2 years gone, and life's been shit ever since, despite anything I do on any front. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference. Education, long hours, intelligence, IQ, integrity, loyalty, job performance reviews, save a few lives. That's not a figure of speech in my case. Doesn't matter. Doesn't change anything. You're not in the club, you're not in the club. And all that matters is if you're in the club. So, there's that. But specifically, what am I talking about? Well, if you've been with my channel for a while, you know that since I started this channel, my life has been crap. Mostly due to being cheated out of that firefighter job for the second time, and the lawsuit that followed, which I did settle, but it was nothing to write home about. But despite anything that seemingly good comes along my way, it either, one, I don't get a fair shot at it, two, somebody tries to cheat me out of it from the moment that I dare be happy. Yeah, you all know a good example of that one from last summer. Or three, you know, somebody it's a trick and somebody's out to get me. That's always fun too. So my latest endeavor, because I inherited this wonderful situation when my borderline mother decided to overdose, I was going to leave this area once and for all. But because I have a man-child for a brother, and she was smart enough at least to name me executor of the estate, I have one final mess to clean up, courtesy of my mother. And I have no help doing it, and it's a pain in the ass, especially with these hillbillies around here. You schedule someone to come pick up something, and they just ghost you. Try to get estimates on a dumpster, fill out the form, and they ghost you. Narcissistic family members like, you gotta do this, and this is how he did it in the 80s. It's like, go away. Go away. I'll call the cops to have you barred from the property. No contact orders. Let's go. So, I'm dealing with that. I didn't choose that. So, yeah, as you know, for a few years I've had some old friends trying to talk me back into modeling. And finally, after everything that went down last year, around Samhain, Halloween for the non-witches out there, I decided, I'm like, what the hell? It can actually serve as a useful point to eventually get me to my end game, because if nothing else, it'll get me to the type of place in which I want to live. And you know me, I want to help others, and being a model would allow me to network around people that can actually make my organization come to fruition. So I went along and went through with it, and had a professional portfolio done, a website made an Instagram, because apparently I had to do that too, and applied to every goddamn agency I could find in New York City, and it was over 2 dozen. Did I hear back from a single one? Now I'm talking like even rejection letters. Nah. So do I even know if my applications were looked at? Nah. So, the thing that they said, it's changed, because at the time I put on like 10 pounds between my mother dying in November and getting my pictures taken right after the holidays, because, when your mother dies, everybody shows up with food and beer. And then it's the holidays, and everybody shows up with food and beer. And, with all I had to deal with as the executor, I didn't get to see the gym very much during that time. So I'm like, nah, I got to push this back, like, too fat. And they're like, things have changed. It's not, 2004 anymore. I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm out of the loop. So I go along with it, and I see the pictures of me shirtless. I'm like, I'm fat. I got to lose weight. So I did. So I me all on my own, just determined, no trainer, no nothing but my own outdated knowledge, starved myself down to a six-pack in less than a month. And I took the pictures of my progress to prove it. It's on my Instagram, which you all should follow, by the way. It's in the About section, the link. But, so now I have, visible abs just naturally at any given moment when I take my shirt off. Because those pictures, while I'm not that cut, keep in mind that that's what I look like at any given moment. That's not, oh, I have a photo shoot. Let me do a 3-day juice cleanse and diuretics to pull my water weight. Like, that's the way I look in this, that's baseline. That's not prepping for anything. That's, if I were to stand up and take my shirt off right now, that's what I look like. So there's that. And I got encouragement from some old friends, about my look, and particularly my jawline, particularly from gay male friends. And that's always the best because they're the ones that'll be the most honest with you and give you the harshest criticism. And I am 6 foot tall. And, I have a six-pack again. So, and I have previous experience, not that anybody cares. They told me that it matters, but it doesn't fucking matter. So, there's all that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to find a scouting service. And I do that. Now, unfortunately, there isn't one unique to New York. It's only, like, the scouting services. It only applies you to, like, the top agencies in the world, like the top tier ones. And that's out of my league, and I know that. But, I figured if I pay, I'll get feedback, and I get it, right? And their basic, the summary of it is we like your look. You need to develop your look and your skills a little more. And this is like the top tier, right? And I didn't expect any of them to be interested, but, the feedback was nice. So logically, hearing that from the top tier, I'm like, yeah, but like the next level down where I belong should be good to go. Let me put it to you this way, because this will be a little more familiar to people. Because I played hockey in high school. So let's say a hockey player, is told, yeah, he's got what it takes to go pro. And this hockey player tries out for the NHL, thinking I'm not NHL material, but, some NHL critique would be nice. And the NHL says, hey, you got potential, dude, but you're not ready for this yet. Like, you need to develop your skills and, like, you have potential to be here one day, but you're not there yet. Now, isn't it logical that that hockey player who just heard that from the NHL would be like, well, that's cool. I wasn't expecting them to take me. But after hearing that from the NHL, man, I'm, definitely definitely somebody that had no problem getting signed by a minor league team, which is where this hockey player, thought they would be, and logically based on critique of everybody. But here's the funny thing, the NHL said you're not quite there yet. But the minor leagues won't even let you try out. Won't even talk to you. So it's like, wait a minute. So you're not even going to let me try. The people above you said, a few minor tweaks, give it a little time. But you, the minor leagues, are like, no. Like, why would we talk to you? So there's that frustration. And I have no idea what to do. Nothing, because nobody can tell me anything of what to do differently or what to work on. Nothing. Yes, and my old friend who, I saved in her darkest hour, who talked me into this, who wanted to pay back that debt that I said she didn't owe me all those years ago, who talked me into this, who had me have this portfolio made, and set up with this coaching service. Yes, the coaching service that gives the same answer to every question. Well, if you go online to these casting websites and try to get experience, it's all for acting. I don't want to be an actor. How does acting help me get signed by a modeling agency? I don't want to be an actor. Like, why do you keep repeating the same question? Or, I'm sorry, the same answer to any question. It's like, ask, have your questions ready in advance. Spend an hour and a half with detailed questions, screenshots, evidence. Like, what do you say about They answer the same question. It's like saying to the guy who wants to be a firefighter, like, can't seem to, You know, because there's fewer firefighter jobs than cop jobs. So it's like the guy who wants to be a firefighter, and he's like, I can't find, you know, like, why can't I test for any fire departments? Well, in that case, it would be because they haven't announced the exam. But we're still using this as an example. And everybody who knows him be like, well, why don't you take the police job? It's like, but I don't want to be a cop. Well, same thing. No! No! There's similarities, like cops and firefighters, just like actors and models, but they are not one and the same. Yeah, and that's the most frustrating part is, you know, nobody can give me any feedback. I went so far as to reconnect with another old friend who's out in LA. She's a former Playboy Playmate, and I got her and start in modeling all those many years ago at her persistent insistence. And I reached out to her, and she answered, and I'm like, okay, Kayla, what am I doing wrong? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, how about, you know, I'm like, well, go talk to some of your friends. And she went and talked to some of her model friends who are in their 20s. Most of them are gay men. And, you know, they even showed my pictures around in a gay bar. And a gay bar in LA with over 120 gay men in it. Don't know what I'm doing wrong. And that's the other thing. I posted those pictures of me with a six-pack to not only show what my physique looks like now, but I did it in my underwear to show that I'm comfortable posing in my underwear. And yeah, nobody can give me any answers. And it's one thing if it's like, oh, you know, because one of these, gay African American guy, Daryl, who actually insisted on talking to me to the phone. He's like, hey man, what you doing in the interviews? You showing up drunk or something? I'm like, what interviews? And he, you know, and that blew his mind. And this is a, you know, like chiseled 20-something-year-old, 6'3" male model. And he's like, and he's looking at like some of the guys who recently got signed. And he's like, that boy's balls ain't even dropped yet. So I don't know what to do. You know, kind of important for me to get signed before I move to New York, which you know, I got to get out of this place come July, or I'm gonna lose my mind because I'm slipping. And I slip in times like this, not because I'm not where I want to be, but because I'm not making any forward progress. And not only am I not making any forward progress, you know, no one can tell me what I'm doing wrong or what to do differently. They just keep just keep doing the same thing that hasn't worked. It's like, how boomer of you. No. No, that's the definition of insanity. I don't need to drive myself deeper in the madness. I'll do that myself. And, you know, yeah. So there's that. And I really want to be in New York for many reasons, because part of me always wanted to live there. You know, I thought and was told by people in the know that I could easily, you know, somewhat easily get this job. And, you know, if I'm being completely honest, there's somebody there too that I really want to spend time with, and we have a lot in common. So for those of you that follow my channel, you know what my big three things are. And all three are just out of reach. And that's going to drive me insane, because the only three things I ever wanted in life, seemingly and very plausibly, are there. But I'm not going to get a fair chance. Why? Classified. You know, what can I do differently? Nobody knows. What did I do wrong? Nothing. Oh, it's almost funny. Matic laughter, that's not a good sign. So yeah, it's like, so a job that can pay me well, that isn't some 7-day-a-week loser job, a job I had before that, you know, I kind of enjoyed back then, but, you know, I'm more extrovert and can definitely handle it at this age better. And, you know, a girl that is quite plausibly my dream girl, at least based on what I know now. And you know, we talk every day, and the more I talk to her, the more that plausibility could be true. Can't know yet, but, you know, the signs are there. My intuition's telling me, like, you probably won't meet someone like this again. And, you know, of course, a progressive city, which is where I like to live, because I enjoyed every other progressive city where I lived. It's like, oh yeah, all that, you know, it's like, you can't have it. Well, what'd I do wrong? Nothing. Well, what do I do to get a fair shot? Well, you're not in the club. Fuck you. It's like, oh. Oh. It's like, go be a landscaper in Chester County. It's like, nah. Now, never mind what I'll do before I ever do that again, but I think you all, can't say it for the algorithm, but I think you all can figure it out, because that's hell. That might as well be a hell loop. So yeah, there's that. Then it's just that frustrating feeling that I've had since 2006, that nothing I ever did mattered. And it's not as if somebody's telling me, well, do this, and, it'll fix it. Because that game's fun too. The goalpost, well, you need to do this, okay, done. What now? Well, you need to do this now. Done. Well, I swear the next motherfucker who does that, well, I'm going to hit them with everything I have. Whatever, yeah. It's like, well, you're getting your jaw wired shut now. How do you feel now, Boomer? Feel powerful? What? Boomer still says that he owns me. I'd like to be a god. Hey, Boomer, if I eat your heart, will that make me a god? Because you mean nothing to me, and if I could have everything I want, if all I have to do is eat your heart, then I'm gonna eat it. I joke. So, it is a very frustrating place to be in. To be stuck in the place you despise more than anywhere in the world. To be doing seemingly everything you can be to get to where you want to be, but you're not making any forward progress, and you don't know why. No one else can tell you why. In fact, they're dumbfounded as to how you're not making progress, and no one can give you any advice on what to do differently to get to where you want to be. Yeah, sounds like a rigged game to me. What do you think? Thoughts and comments below, but every damn time. It's gonna happen if I don't get a fair shot this time, because I am an INFJ, and I'm still stuck here. To put it into an analogy you all can probably understand, using a famous fictional INFJ who was pretty and blonde and rode dragons, and when she realized that everything she fought for her whole life wasn't going to happen, and a certain sound just made her snap. Yeah, I'm going to go Daenerys Targaryen up in this bitch. Because when you have nothing else to lose, I mean, I'm not talking actual violence, I know things about some of these dukes and earls of Chester County. It's like, I think I'll just throw truth bombs until someone puts a bullet in me. Because, why not? What do I got to live for? So at least I can burn your clubhouse down as I go down. Something, right? That's, I somewhat kid, but in all seriousness, I'm at the point now where it's like, if I'm this close to potentially all three big things, and I get cheated out of it, the only thing I'm going to have left is revenge and vengeance, and that darkness will consume me, and this time, there'll be no coming back. I will become my great uncle Mario, who was vengeful and hateful and a force to be reckoned with until the day he died, because somebody, they killed his fiance, and this was during the war. He was in the Italian intelligence community, but his fiance was Jewish. But still, he warned me about not letting hate and vengeance consume me, and to pick myself up. This is years ago. He's been dead since 2009. But, to continue to fight on. It's like, yeah, but Uncle Mario, fight on's one thing. Can I at least, get a fair fight one of these times? I stab him in the chest and he gets right back up and splits into 3 other guys. I'm about to be overwhelmed. What do I do? What do I do? So, yeah, it's not a good place to be. It's not a good place to be. I welcome, criticism and advice on what to do, but I can't even get that out of these modeling agencies. You tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. Well, it's like, the hell do you mean, well? Yeah, yeah, and then these stupid coaching people, well, you have previous experience. Nobody cares. Well, you have a professional website. Nobody cares. You have a professional portfolio. Nobody cares. You're the right height. Nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares. What do they care about? I don't know. You won't tell me. Somebody tell me. So, that's the frustrating part. It's and I know what it is. My intuition's this is kind of funny. You wouldn't think this, right? Because you would think, modeling, it's how you look, right? No, apparently with that, it's even who you know. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. I really didn't. So that's a frustrating pill to swallow. So I have to reevaluate what to do. I still want to go to New York because I guess 2 out of 3 are possible, maybe, and kind of gotta, you know, see what a certain somebody wants before I make that decision. But yeah, any, and I'm not just talking modeling, but any decent paying, respectable job, not allowed to have it. Not allowed to interview for it. Or if I get it because they can't deny it to me because I did the best out of over 1,100 people in a testing process like the Arlington County Fire Department. Yes, it was roughly like 1,200 people who sat for that written exam. There were 23 of us who got hired at the end of the process. I had the lowest badge number, which means I was first on the list, and no, it was not alphabetical because the person with the last name started with a B whose locker was next to mine at the second the lowest. And also, we had an ex-cop in the class who said, no, it's by who gets hired first. And he would know because he was an Arlington cop first. So, yeah, that. So, I'm allowed to bitch about merit not mattering. And how did that end? Well, a good old boy didn't want me there, saw me as a threat to his traditions, and, and how women don't belong in the department, and witches don't belong in the department, and that it's his department because his grandfather worked there, so we can't have, this liberal witch here, so we must rig it to get him out to protect my club. And that's how it went down. And the good old boys protected him, and I faced retaliation. You know the story. But, I'm getting tired of fighting rigged games. Not asking for anybody. I'm not asking for any handouts. It's just a fair fight. Just give me a fair fight. That's all I want. Would have prevented my lawsuit, Arlington. I had that message delivered to you. I would have restarted the whole academy and dropped the whole thing. You wouldn't even talk to me. That's how rigged my life is. It's like, ooh, yeah. I went to the press, all that. All you had to do is be like, wow, and people, testified in depositions that I didn't have a fair shot, and there was plenty of evidence to support that. But, all I wanted was the fair shot that I earned. In my case, twice, and I didn't get it either time. But, selfish me, right? So entitled that I earned a chance to go through a fire academy graded fairly twice and didn't even get a fair shot once, and was willing to, go through that academy a second time, the whole thing. And the academy sucks, but you wouldn't give it to me. Yeah. So that's my frustrations, kind of at the end of my rope here. I have no backup plan. How do you have a backup plan when you pick yourself up for a last stand? Victory or Valhalla?